generation child. She was born almost to the day of the launch of the World Wide Web, which is very interesting. And in the acknowledgments of my book, I thank her, my digital generation child, and when she read that, she looked at me and she said, "Mom, you used me." And I suppose I did, and I've tended to, in my sort of informal research process, whenever she's with her friends, I will say, "Oh, hey, excuse me, can I ask you a question?" I'm sure you do this too, right? What do you do when you're online? She says, "Don't answer that." She's trying to get information out of you. Don't tell her anything about it. But you do learn a lot from observing and being a parent, and you also realize the frustrations of parenthood. So I'm going to talk a little bit about social networks. I'm going to talk about some trends and some of the research. There is not a whole lot. But I first want to share with you some of the key themes that I think are important to understand when we think about this new digital media culture, and particularly some of the differences that we see between it and traditional media. And I think one of the first and most important things is just to realize that media culture is changing. Yes, it's true, kids are still watching television, but we've seen a whole array of new interactive technologies that are becoming part of their everyday lives. They're integrated into their social structure. They're also integrated into our political discourse, our democratic processes. And digital media are here to stay. They're changing very rapidly. And in the modern vernacular, we just have to deal with it. We might want to return to simpler times, but we can't do that, so we need to deal with it. And I think young people are what I would call defining users. We know they're early adopters. They take to new media, and not every single one of them, but many of them take to new media very comfortably, very easily. And this is actually a quote from a market researcher who said, they're not just adopting the internet, they're internalizing it. And they're also internalizing a set of expectations and behaviors that sort of become part of how they're wired. At least that's how it is looking to me from my perspective. And many young people now are living their lives online. And I think one of the really interesting things about it, and particularly I think when we look at adolescence, is how uniquely tailored these new interactive technologies are to the fundamental developmental tasks or needs that they're undertaking as they grow up. And again, I've been able to observe this firsthand in addition to